President Tinubu receives delegation, directs Finance Minister on new minimum wage template. Senate knocks Labour over grid shutdown, steps down motion to address national blackout. Fire guts Enugu timber market. And on the foreign scene, President Biden imposes asylum ban at US-Mexico border. Hello, welcome to News Updates on Trust TV. My name is Lilian Ogazi. And now to the news. President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday received a briefing from a delegation of federal government regarding the discussion with organized labor on the new minimum wage. The meeting had in attendance the federal government team on the tripartite committee on new national minimum wage. The meeting with the president was held an hour before the resumption of negotiations between labor and government, shortly after the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress announced the suspension of their industrial action to allow for further negotiations with the government.
Like I've said earlier, government is not against, it's not an opponent of labor discussions, it's not an opponent of wage increase. But what is there is that government is always desirous of ensuring that there is a balance between what government pronouncement is and what the realities are on ground. And therefore, we will work assiduously to ensure that whatever we do, whatever promises the government makes will be kept. That's the idea of this meeting. The president has given a marching order that all those who have negotiated on behalf of government and all those also who are representative of other sectors, the organized private sector, the subnationals, come together so that we can have a new wage award that is acceptable, that is sustainable, and that is also realistic for Nigeria. A wage award is not just that of the federal government. Like I mentioned earlier, the subnationals are involved, the organized private sector is involved, the labor is involved. It was labor that staged a step out during those proceedings. Now that we have come back to the negotiating table, all of us will work together again assiduously within the next 1 week to ensure that we have a new wage for Nigeria that is acceptable, that is sustainable, that is also realistic for all Nigerians.
Meanwhile, the Senate, at its resumed hearing on Tuesday, frowned at the actions of the Labour, who shut down the national grid as part of its nationwide strike over the new national minimum wage. While speaking on the effect of the two-day strike, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, said it is unacceptable for Labour to prevent the airlift of pilgrims on Hajj to Saudi Arabia and preventing Nigerian students from sitting for their scheduled West African senior secondary examination. Trust TV's Senate correspondent Sagir Ibrahim brings us details of this and more from Tuesday's plenary.
At the resumed hearing, Akpabio said a bill should be brought to the National Assembly to settle the issue of new national minimum wage once and for all. However, the Senate stepped down the motion following the announcement of the strike suspension.
We thank them for agreeing to go back to the negotiation table. We urge the federal government to expedite action on negotiations in order to arrive at something that is acceptable, at least acceptable to both parties, or something that is reasonably acceptable to both parties. And then immediately thereafter, since the last minimum wage has expired, as an act of parliament, they should immediately send us an executive bill for us to commence work.
Also, Senator representing Bauchi Central, Abdul Ningi, has resumed his duties at the National Assembly after a 10-week suspension. The Bauchi lawmaker was suspended in March 2023 after he had accused Senate leadership of misappropriating the 2024 budget. The Senate officially reinstated Ningi on May 28, 2024, following a resolution passed during plenary for his recall, sponsored by Senate Minority Leader Abba Moro and co-sponsored by Deputy Minority Leader Olalire Oyewumi and Minority Whip Osita Ugu.
It is therefore my resolve to, with a profound humility, to Allah, the sustainer and the cherisher, thanking Him for giving us this day and for finding it fit enough, for finding time to be with you once again. And I would like to commend the Senate for this gesture.
Senate President Godwill Akpabio welcomed Senator Ningi back, emphasizing the importance of unity and collaboration.
I believe that you have a lot to contribute to the 10th Senate. I believe you are a very resourceful senator. And like you said, let bygone be bygone. So you are welcome. We welcome you back with gratitude.
Due to his suspension, Senator Ningi lost his position as chair of the Senate Committee on National Identity and Population, as well as his position as a chair Northern Senators Forum.
Following the suspension of its nationwide strike, cold room operators in Kaduna are recounting their experience from the total blackouts across the country. The power supply cut had negative impacts on business operations as most relied on the national grid for energy. Trust TV's Bella Musa has more on the story.
Butchers, drinks and fruit sellers deposit their meat, yogurt and the likes here for preservation. Though the strike has been suspended for 5 days, the operators are recounting their losses. To be honest, we found ourselves in a difficult situation. This is the third time we are experiencing power cut due to strike. Whenever it happens, we lose our meat product due to spoilage. When the strike entered its second day, they had to shut down the cold room. In the morning, we call our clients to come collect their beef meat and chicken so that it will not go bad. Though they have a standby generator that can serve the cold room, they can't afford operating on generator for longer hours due to high energy cost. Today, I bought a liter of diesel at the rate of 1,230 naira. If we are to use generator for the cold room, in a day, we will spend 100,000 naira on diesel in particular. They are appealing to the government and the organized labor to have a fruitful negotiations within the next 5 days for the betterment of not only their members, but Nigerians in general. Bella Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
A day after the Central Bank of Nigeria revoked the operating license of Heritage Bank, the bank's customers are lamenting on how to recover their life savings deposited in the bank. Trust TV's correspondent Miriam Haliwi reports that the bank branches in Kano are closed to customers who came to inquire how to recover their monies. Miriam's report is presented from our studio.
This is one of the branches of Heritage Bank in Kano, where customers from different parts of the state troop in to get some answers regarding their life savings. But they say no one was available to respond to them at this moment.
Yesterday, it was the day I heard that this bank got problems. I say, what? I never hear and I never noticed that there is any info. In fact, I don't have any information about the closing of the bank before yesterday.
No, I just said I should come and check because I heard the story yesterday that the bank has locked and I have money inside and my life savings is in this bank. So I don't know what to do. Please, they should just help us to open so that we collect our money.
According to the Nigeria's Apex Bank, Heritage Bank's inability to improve its financial performances threaten its financial stability. Hence, the need to revoke the bank's license, which the customers say they are now paying the price.
I don't know. I said, let me come and check. Maybe I can see one of the manager and know what happened with my money. That's why I come here. So they say they have strike or something. So I don't know. Please, you people should just help us. We have to have small money here and know what to do.
No message. I haven't gotten message from anybody. So now, what step will I take in order to reach them? Because I'm the one that needed to reach them or to get their contact in order to inform them that yes, I'm one of the participants and one of the victims that the thing happens to.
Although the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation confirmed that it has commenced paying insurance benefit to the customers, but many customers say they have no access to the NDIC. Meanwhile, all attempts to speak with NDIC in Kano proved abortive, largely due to an industrial action by the organized labor.
Now let's take you through the step-by-step process of accessing claims if you are one of the affected customers of Heritage Bank. Now here's Trust TV's business correspondent, Chiamaka Inendu, with an explainer. Many customers of Heritage Bank woke up recently to the shocking news of the revoked license of the bank by the Central Bank of Nigeria. And before the regulatory hammer fell on Heritage Bank, the Central Bank of Nigeria had said that the bank had continued to suffer and had no reasonable prospect of recovery, thereby making the revocation of the license inevitable. And this decision announced on Monday was in accordance with Section 12 of the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act of 2020. The central bank had appointed the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation as the liquidator of the failed bank. Meanwhile, the NDIC spokesperson Bashir Nuhu assured depositors in Heritage Bank that those with insured amounts of up to 5 million naira will receive their funds through alternate banks. And for depositors with funds exceeding 5 million naira, Nuhu explained that they would receive a liquidation dividend after the realization of Heritage Bank's assets and recovery of debt owed to the bank. And if you're wondering how customers can reclaim up to 5 million naira funds from the defunct Heritage Bank, here is how. 1. Visit the nearest Heritage Bank branch. Depositors without an alternate bank account should visit the nearest branch of Heritage Bank with proof of account ownership and a verifiable means of identification, such as a driver's license, a permanent voter's card, or national identity card, their alternate account details, and their BVN for verification and subsequent payment of insured sums. 2. File online claims. Depositors can also file claims online by visiting the NDIC website at www.ndic.gov.ng/claims, and they should download and fill out the forms and upload the required documentation. 3. Verification and payment of creditors. Creditors are advised to visit the nearest branch of Heritage Bank to file their claims or use the online platform. The NDIC emphasized that the payments process for creditors will commence immediately after all depositors have been paid. And 4. Debtors' repayment of loans. Debtors who have not yet repaid their loans are instructed to contact the NDIC's Asset Management Department for further details, which can be found on the NDIC's website. And those are steps on how you can reclaim up to 5 million naira insured funds from the liquidated Heritage Bank. Now moving over to insecurity, Borno State Governor Professor Babangana Zulum has described the threat of ISWAP terrorists against Kukawa residents as weak and seeking cheap popularity. It is close this during a visit to Baga town to discuss security strategies against displacement of communities and how to avoid recurrence.
It would be recalled that Kukawa was attacked and threatened by ISWAP terrorists last week. The reported attack is the reason Governor Zulum visited the town to meet with military officers to discuss solutions to these threats, among others.
You may recall that displacement has not taken place in Borno State for the last 4 years, and under no circumstances we shall allow Boko Haram to displace our communities again. So I'm here to discuss the matter with the Nigerian army and then see how possible best we can abort such situation that did not reoccur for the last 4 years. Yes, their strength are very weak, but they just want to, get cheap popularity.
The governor, while in Baga town, donated 10 golf cars, 15 tricycles to the National Union of Road Transport Workers and the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria. He also presented 15 vehicles to the fishing community.
What we need is to support the farmers. and I've directed that the farmers will be profiled so that they should be given agricultural input. We shall support them through the World Bank supported program, which is AgriSal and NG Cares, in addition to what we have. But be rest assured that this community will regain its lost glory. Another very important thing that we have discussed is the issue of the waterways, the route from here to the Republic of Chad through the waterways. This has also been discussed with the naval component. So these are the main reasons that we are here. We are also here to support the Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers and then other organizations that are here.
The governor thereafter visited the South Chad Irrigation Scheme to distribute farm inputs and subsidized petroleum products. Bitrus Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
No fewer than 5 shops were on Tuesday gutted by fire at the timber market in Kenyatta Street, Uwani, in Enugu State. Reports said that prompt response by the State Fire Service quenched the fire from spreading to other parts of the plywood market. A firefighter official said the service received a distress call around 9:45 p.m. that the market was on fire, and it immediately swung into action and quenched the fire before it spread to the other parts of the market. An eyewitness said some neighbors in the area rushed to the market, and within a few minutes the fire service arrived and quenched the fire. This is News Update coming to you from Trust TV. Coming up, hairdressers, others lament low patronage in Imo State. More news after the break to say. You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Update coming to you from Trust TV. Let's take a look at our headline stories again. President Tinubu received delegation, directs Finance Minister on new minimum wage template. Senate knocks Labour over grid shutdown, steps down motion to address national blackout. Now moving on, the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria (FAN) has announced that power supply will be disconnected at the Lagos Airport on June 5th to allow for maintenance work. In a statement on Tuesday by FAN's Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Obiageli Ora, said the maintenance is necessary to address urgent issues with the bus riser 11 kV amperes high tension panel located on the ground floor north of the international terminal. FAN said airlines including Rwanda Air, Egypt Air and Qatar Air operating during the maintenance period will be moved to International Terminal 1 for check-in and arrival procedures. The authority advised all passengers on this flight to take note, expressing regrets for any inconvenience the maintenance may cause to stakeholders and the traveling public. Following the prevailing hardship in the nation's economy, Imo hairdressers and beauty care businesses owners are experiencing low patronage. Nigerians now stay away from patronizing certain services due to lack of money.
For many of the hairdressers and salon owners in the state, the business is no longer as usual. Scarcity of funds and hardship in the economy has created low patronage as their customers no longer come very often.
Like before now, if you come to my shop, place will be crowded, but now, due to the high cost of things in the market, people don't normally make hair these days. They only come to weave, wash their hair because they are just struggling to eat. You know, everything are just expensive in the market, so it's really affecting our business right now. Things are not going well.
When I start my business, when I used to buy Atasha soft then, I start with 1,500 wholesale price, but now wholesale price now is 3,300. So we are using only 200 naira to manage the business, which is not good.
This hairstylist said in an ideal situation, women ought to make their hair monthly. But with the present day realities, lots of ladies have decided to carry their hair longer than usual. Others said the current situation of the country favor only those in government.
People that are not really well to do. They don't really come. So we hardly have customers like unlike before. Now people just come to do weaving, weave their hair and wear their wig. So the thing is really affecting us. And we pray and hope the government do something about it.
And reduce the cost and make it to be good. Let people see what they'll eat. We can have money to buy, attach and buy kinky to play their hair, because some people don't like to come to show. Some people wish to go and barb their head because all these things.
The business owners are calling on Bola Tinubu-led administration to, as a matter of necessity, implement policies that will help small businesses. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
Moving on now, in a significant move to bolster the state's development agenda, Governor Umar Namadi has signed into law a supplementary budget of 85.4 billion naira, along 6 additional bills recently passed by the State Assembly. The supplementary budget is aimed at enhancing critical policies and programs designed to drive transformational changes across Jigawa State.
During the signing ceremony held at the Government House in Dutse, Governor Namadi emphasized the administration's commitment to leveraging these funds to execute strategic projects that will have a lasting impact on the state's socio-economic landscape. The supplementary budget is expected to address various sectors, including infrastructure, healthcare, education, and agriculture, thereby stimulating economic growth and improving the standard of living of the people of Jigawa State. Specific projects outlined in the budget include the construction of new roads, the upgrade of healthcare facilities, enhancement of educational institutions, and support for agricultural initiatives. In addition to the budget, Governor Namadi also signed into law 6 other bills passed by the State Assembly. These bills encompass a range of issues critical to the state's development, including public health, education reform, and local government administration.
These all are in our journey to a greater Jigawa. These bills were all submitted to the Assembly by the Executive because we have seen that the need to establish new agencies and also to ensure for us to achieve our objective of having a greater Jigawa. These agencies are agencies that are necessary and that will definitely benefit the people of Jigawa State. Therefore, I want to use this opportunity to thank members of the Jigawa House of Assembly for the speedy passage of these bills and for their commitment and for their cooperation in our journey to greater Jigawa.
Speaker of the Jigawa State Assembly, Honorable Idris Garba, commended the collaborative efforts between the legislative and executive arms, noting that the passage of the supplementary budget and accompanying bills reflects a shared vision for the state's progress. As the administration embarks on the ambitious development trajectory, stakeholders and residents alike are hopeful that a timely and effective implementation of these policies and programs will indeed transform Jigawa State into a model of sustainable development and inclusive growth.
And now to the foreign scene. President Joe Biden on Tuesday unveiled plans to enact immediate significant restrictions on migrants seeking asylum at the U.S.-Mexico border as the White House tries to neutralize immigration as a political liability ahead of the November elections. The long-anticipated presidential proclamation would bar migrants from being granted asylum when U.S. officials deem that the southern border is overwhelmed. The Democratic president had contemplated unilateral action for months after the collapse of a bipartisan border security deal in Congress that most Republican lawmakers rejected at the behest of former President Donald Trump. The presumptive GOP presidential nominee Biden said he preferred more lasting action via legislation, but Republicans have left him with no choice. At least 15 people have been killed in Israeli ground and air attacks on the Bureiji and Maghazi refugee camps in central Gaza. A Palestinian health official said more than 15 martyrs and dozens of injuries reached the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital in the last several hours. Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital is the only medical facility currently offering services to more than 1 million people in the area. Health officials said the facility does not have the capacity for more patients. And now in sport, the Nigerian Basketball Federation (NBBF) has invited 20 players for the Tigress as they are set to open its first phase camp in the FCT Abuja preparation for the 2024 Olympics in Paris, France. FIBA's Women Afro-Basket champions Morijanatu Musa, Ifunaya Okoro and Nkem Akinwaye headline the 20-man list for the Tigress. However, home-based players like Regina Dunanu, Wando Hembam and Agatha Ternadu, who have recently maintained national dominance, are enlisted. With that, we've come to the end of News Update here on Trust TV. Do well to follow us across all our social media platforms for more news programs and documentaries. Thanks for watching. I am Lilian Ogazi. Bye for now.